Hi, I'm Charlene Rolls and I'm an editor and researcher. Today I'm going to talk a bit about transformation, but particularly transformation in the C-suite and the challenge leaders face. Transformation is one of those words when you say it, people are moaning and groaning and eye-rolling, and there's general irritation. And this negativity is often linked to the broad-based Black economic empowerment legislation that was introduced about 30 years ago. But not all leaders moan about this. Some of them actually recognize the strategic benefit of having diverse teams, and they are the ones reaping the rewards. Research has shown the benefits are clear. Diverse teams are more innovative, they have greater psychological safety, greater creativity, and they tend to be more profitable than businesses that are not diverse. So if there are so many benefits, why are so many organizations not getting it right? This was the question I set out to answer with my research, and I found that in individual cases it's complex and nuanced, but one thing all of them had in common was the role of the CEO and other C-suite leaders. The head of a business absolutely can make or break a transformation initiative. And so when we talk about transformation, absolutely the leader needs to be part of it. I spoke to several C-suite leaders of JSE-listed organizations, and what I found, typically there are three kinds of leaders. The first, they are all transformation is an HR problem, it's irksome, it's just about legislation, someone else must do it. The second, those are leaders who believe that it is the right thing to do. They are doing it beyond compliance. They are getting it right. And then there's a third kind of leader who feels that transformation is absolutely something they must do beyond compliance, but they're really grappling and they're really struggling with it. And this set of leaders are the ones I found most interesting because they didn't even realize that they are actually at the root of their transformation problems. Their heads and their hearts are in the right place, but their actions, their beliefs, what they were actually doing was standing in the way of their goals. And many of them were shocked when they realized this. But what was also important was to realize that you as the CEO of your business, if you are that person, you can change if you're willing to do the work. There are three areas that kind of frame the work that needs to be done: the self, the organization, and the society. The self is probably the toughest of the three because it's internal work that needs to be done, and it can often be quite painful. You as the CEO of this business need to take a look at yourself and go, well, what am I doing and what do I feel and what do I know? And becoming self-aware is a critical piece of the leadership work. So you need to learn what your unconscious biases are, and you can't do it on your own. You have to go on a bit of a fact-finding mission because it's unconscious. You have to get other people to give you input. Speak to your teams, speak to your colleagues, speak to your exco, get a coach and have the coach point out some of your blind spots and work with you on how you can actually understand these biases and how it is influencing your transformation efforts. You have to know what your values are too. And not just the values that's pasted in your boardroom or on your company documents, the stuff that makes your heart beat faster, like what drives you, what makes you resistant to certain things. If you know what your values are, you will understand what you can move forward with, and actually it also helps to keep you grounded when the headwinds come, as they do with any kind of transformation initiative. You have to know if you're falling into an archetype, the white knight who comes in and I'm saving people of color and I'm saving women and disabled people and people of different sexual orientation, but actually you're being quite patriarchal and causing division within your ranks, disrespecting those communities. Or are you a one-hit wonder where you do one or two seminars and you're so pleased and smug and you think it's all done? Maybe you're the tough love leader who you are committed to this transformation journey no matter what. And even when you get useful insights from people where they say, you know, maybe we should fix this, you're like, no, you are resistant to this, I don't want to hear anything. You could be sabotaging yourself while thinking you are a diversity champion. You need to be able to have difficult conversations, holding a space for people on all parts of this conversation spectrum, because they will all have feelings and thoughts and emotions, and you need to hear them out. You have to hold yourself and others accountable. Once you put it out there and you say, this is my plan, this is my vision, this is what I want, you have to back it up when someone transgresses that. You actually have to say, this is not okay, this is the action I'm taking, because people will watch. And if you don't do that, they will think you're just paying lip service and that actually you're not genuine and authentic. So all of this work, ongoing, it's iterative, and you'll keep learning as you move through what US researcher Jennifer Brown calls the inclusive leader continuum. And she says there are 4 phases. Phase 1 is when you are unaware, and in this phase you're like, it's an HR problem. Then you move to becoming aware, And this is when you realize, I actually have a role to play here. And you start to learn and become aware of the things that you didn't know before. Then you move to becoming active. And in this phase, you actually use your rank and influence and power to make changes in your organization. And in the fourth phase, this is when you are an advocate. And here you are proactively making changes in your organization on a systemic level. And so you'll move back and forth between these phases as new information comes in, as you reach new levels of awareness. And you'll also start to see things in your organization that you're like, maybe no, I'm not liking this anymore. This is when you come to the organizational part of the work. You have to actually take action once you start to see these things, and you have to be intentional about how you do it. And so there are many things you can do, practical things, with minor changes that have major impact. For example, review all your existing policies and procedures. What does your recruitment policy look like, for example? Where are you recruiting from? How are you recruiting? Do you have an interview panel? Are you asking people for salary information before making an offer? How are you actually getting people on board? And how are you going to make sure you get the right people on board? You have to dedicate a senior resource to drive your transformation initiatives. You as the CEO absolutely are the holder of the transformation strategy, and you come up with a vision and plan, but you cannot execute it because you are the CEO. So the next person, the person who's doing it, has to be senior, who has the authority and reports to you. And they are the ones who have to drive it. It cannot be an HR problem. You can design and support an accelerated leadership development program, and you have to support it. You have to fund it. You have to pay for training, education, mentorship, coaching, so that the top talent in your organization have the technical skills, the organizational skills, the emotional skills as they're rising through the ranks. This is especially important if it's for a senior leadership position. And it's also an opportunity for you to review your succession plan, policy and procedure. Do you actually hire people from your succession plan? Is it still serving you? What can you change to make sure that it helps you to meet your goals? I mean, something that many people don't do are employee resource groups that you can create. And this is something that people who are very successfully executing transformation initiatives that they have started. And there are two benefits. The first is that you have access to a group of people who will give you very candid feedback and who will give you the kind of feedback about their challenges. And the second is that they have a space where they feel safe and they can connect and they feel seen and heard. And inclusion is an incredibly important part of feeling a sense of belonging and your transformation initiatives. And then lastly, you must visibly support everything that you want to see at the town hall, all your internal comms. Show people what you want, how you want it, why you want it. You set the tone that they follow. So we've spoken about the self, we've spoken about the organization. So on the societal level, South Africa has a huge unemployment problem, but with top talent, it's actually the opposite. They're hard to find and they're hard to retain. And so you can find yourself in a very bruising and very expensive battle with competitors for highly skilled people. And so you need to ask yourself, when does it make sense to collaborate with external partners, even competitors? Do you fund a training program at a particular tertiary institution? And maybe they will come work for you and maybe they won't. But even if they don't work for you, you're putting someone out into this world that is now trained and could potentially become a customer. And so all of these parts work together. But what is important to remember is that this is not a quick fix thing. It's a multi-layered, long-term approach that's required. It can be tough, lonely, expensive, time-consuming, but it is important to do. It's as important as you dealing with the pressure on your bottom line or the future of your business, because this is the future of your business. You have to commit to it. It's a journey worth taking for people, for planet, for profit. And the rewards for you as a leader, it's quite immense. As researchers Pamela Fuller, Mark Murphy, and Anne Trow point out, leadership is a higher calling. And in its toughest moments, when we are in the management trenches, we must remind ourselves that this is both a privilege and important work.